Well, looking back over 10 years, it's quite an interesting process. One tries to think as to how the whole thing started. They say that every good idea has got several parents, and it's impossible to identify exactly when something happens, but my recollection is that the initiative of the Sports Commission came about partly because the states were going to change the way they managed their affairs after the review of the machinery of government, so the old Recreation Committee was no longer going to be there. It was brought about partly by the fact that the Island Games came and we listened to a whole range of other islands as to how they organised sports development in their respective islands. And then I think we were lucky that maybe three people got together. Dave Chilton, who was then made the first Chief Officer of Culture and Leisure, that Graham Chester had been involved in sports development with the old Recreation Committee, and I was lucky enough to be a non-states member on that Recreation Committee. I think the three of us, if you like, came up with the idea with that background of saying, let's give it a go. So here we are 10 years later. The Sports Commission has grown in stature, it's a larger organisation than we started, it has a bigger budget, and by many people's point of view it has had some success in helping Guernsey Sport get to a new level. So how has it helped Guernsey Sport? I think in a way it's helped articulate a voice for sport. It's had subtle influences on the major sports in the island by maybe encouraging them in certain ways by being more professional. They've taken their sport more seriously, they've taken coaching more seriously, they've taken performance on a sort of national stage more seriously. And so if the Commission has had some way in those subtle influences of improving sport in Guernsey, then all of those involved with the Commission should be quite pleased. Will the Commission go somewhere further in the future? Well, I think there are things that we could get involved in. We are very pleased with the way the PE in Schools initiative is working, and that could certainly be expanded. The community sports, where we work on sort of 3 current states housing locations, and I'm sure that could be expanded to further locations with the help of the new Youth Commission. I think we could do more with coaches. We've started that process already now, and I think it's building. I think coaches have got confidence now in asking for opinion and of how they could improve their own task. Coaching is a fairly sort of singular activity in a strange way, and I think coaches don't always ask for advice or seek advice, whereas now they're getting more confident in seeking that advice, and we've got a very good team here at the Commission that can help them. We do a whole range of other things, of course, though, and one of the highlights for me over the last 10 years was the establishment of our sporting Wall of Fame in Beau Sejour. It was a fantastic night, the night we launched it at one of our awards evenings, and each time we add 1 or 2 people, it gives you a real sort of sense of pride in the achievements that Guernsey sports people have achieved over the years. And there's more to come. We already see 2 or 3 people that I'm sure will be inaugurated as time goes by. KG5 is exciting, the possibility of finding a new home for the Commission, which will help establish a greater independence from our state's roots. That's not essential that we do a thing like that, but I think it'll help people realise that we are separate from Beau Sejour. We've got our own identity. We have got a fantastic staff that deserve better facilities than they're currently working in, and I think that will help them develop and us develop us to a better organisation. We've become ourselves more professional over the last 10 years. We had some ideas of how to progress, but as time has gone by, we've attracted people with real strength and depth in their professional approach to the sporting world. You know, we've been so lucky to keep Graham Chester over all that time, but also add to him Tim Newenham, who now leads the team, Jeremy Frith, who's involved, 2 guys that are running our PE in Schools programme, Ollie and Kerry. We've got a great head office team with Oliver Tracey, with Angela Stuart helping out, people that run the community sports, Jenny, Murphy, absolutely fantastic. A whole range of volunteers that would be too numerous to mention. So it certainly isn't a one or two man show. It's a real team effort, and new and fresh ideas come from all members of that team. I think that's the exciting part of it, is that they come up with new ideas that we manage to enmesh into our programme, but also then find funding. Funding is a big issue, of course. The states effectively grant us the same amount they granted us 10 years ago, so we've lost 10 years worth of inflation, which would amount to something like 40% if you calculated it. But we've been lucky to find generous companies, private individuals who've helped us, a whole range of people that see sport as a way of giving youngsters confidence, giving them good disciplines in their life, giving them ways to express their ingenuity, their hard work, their whole expression for some people has come through sport. And therefore, if the Commission has helped more of those people to find that outlet, then we're lucky people to be involved. One of the prerequisites when we went to the States to explain how we'd like the Commission to be set up was that it shouldn't be run by politicians, that it should have influence by them. And we've ever since the beginning had politicians sitting on our board and our Commission. We were lucky right at the outset to get Mike O'Hara, who's now the Minister of Culture and Leisure, so his relationship with the Commission has been right from the very beginning. We've always had the Chief Officer of Culture and Leisure sitting on our board, and Dave Chilton was one of those that I mentioned earlier that helped form and formulate the way that we were set up. So he was there from the Shadow Commission right through to when he retired, was almost 10 years, and now we've got Mark Degari, who's the Chief Officer involved. We've been lucky to have a whole range of commissioners that have been prepared to serve the Commission since it started. Susie Farman, Dave Wall were there right from the very beginning and served out in each case about 10 years, and then have moved on to pursue other of their interests because they're so heavily involved in other community things. So we started off with some good guys, needless to say. Some stayed for some 10 years, some moved on because it's a good idea to bring in new people with fresh ideas, and today we've got a super team. They do so much work that you just don't see out on the sports field, or for that matter in the press. I think one of the things we decided early days was not to go out and shout blow our own trumpet, if you like. They do things quietly in the background and improve things for the common good. We are a little bit more exposed, shall we say, than we were when we first started, because we have our own website now and people can see what we're doing. We do publish things, but the whole myriad of things, the quiz in sport, the youth games that every other year that Specsavers have supported right from the very beginning. But there's almost too many things to mention of the initiatives that go forwards, and it's made our heritage, our sporting heritage, stronger than it ever was before. But there are still so many more things that we can do, and I think you'll find that everybody in the Commission is looking towards tomorrow as to what extra things we can add, so that that richness of that sporting heritage will continue to be strong.